Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we're talking about a very important day in a couple's life.
That's right. We're going to a wedding, and but this time it's not going to be so romantic because actually the groom is having second thoughts about the wedding.
Okay, that means he's nervous and he's not positive he wants to get married today. So remember, the groom is the man, the bride is the woman. Let's jump right into this dialogue, listen to what's going on, and when we come back, we'll be talking about some of the words and phrases you've heard.
Man, I'm freaking out. You gotta help me.
Whoa, take it easy, relax. Jeez, you're sweating like a pig. What's going on?
I can't go through with this. I just can't. I'm not ready for marriage. What was I thinking? I'm only 35 years old. I've got my entire life ahead of me. Adventure's waiting. I can't settle down yet.
What are you talking about? It wasn't more than a month ago that you were rambling on about how you are tired of living the life of a bachelor and how you envy your friends that have a family.
I know.
Let's think this through. First of all, you cannot leave Amy at the altar. Not only will she be humiliated and kill you, but she is the woman that you love and the woman of your dreams. Why would you want to end that or jeopardize it like this? Second of all, you were just getting cold feet. You know deep down inside that you'd want to marry her. So cut the crap and do it.
You're right. I'm being crazy. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Great. Whew. That was a close one. You had me going there for a minute. I thought I was going to have to slap some sense into you. All right, we're back. So he almost didn't get married, but luckily you have a good friend to help you out.
Exactly. So this friend really saved the day, made sure that the groom didn't get too nervous, and had some really positive words. So let's take a listen to some of these marriage words in today's language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so as you mentioned, we have this word marriage. Now, marriage is the noun form, right, of actually getting married or to be married.
Right. Marriage is the noun, the word that describes the relationship between two married people. Okay, and so you have a relationship, maybe you're dating, but once you get married, the thing between you as a man and a woman, that's your marriage.
Your marriage, okay.
So you could say, our marriage is in danger.
We need to work on our marriage.
Exactly. Or we have a happy marriage.
All right. Okay, so that's marriage. Now, if you get married, and this guy, he mentioned a phrase, which was to settle down.
To settle down. This is a very important phrase. To settle down means to get serious, mature, and to stop living like a child. It means really to have a house or to start having kids. It's a time in life.
So to settle down is to become more stable, right? As you say, to buy a house, to have a family, to stay in one place and not be so adventurous or stuff like that.
Exactly. So it's to calm down and to be more fixed in life.
All right. Now, the opposite of this would be to be a bachelor.
Right. So bachelor is a single man, someone who's not married. And you often hear this term when we talk about apartments. So bachelor pad is an apartment that's specific to a single man. Usually there's lots of video games and a fancy TV and a pool table.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So bachelor, we had a lesson about this called bachelor party.
Right, which is a party for a man right before he gets married.
Okay.
And bachelor is a special word for a man who's not yet married.
Okay, very good. And now, as they were talking about not getting married, he said that you can't leave Amy at the altar.
So you often hear this in movies, she got left at the altar, or you can't leave her at the altar. This word altar is actually religious. Altar is the table in a church where the priest does all of his work.
Right.
All right, so an altar is a special religious table.
So usually two people will stand in front of an altar and get married, right, with the priest who is doing his thing there.
Exactly. He says, do you, Joe, take Samantha to be your bride, blah, blah, blah. So that happens at a special place called the altar.
Okay, very good.
It's also common in the normal mass, like on Sundays.
Right. Okay. And for the last word or phrase today, it's to get cold feet. You're just getting cold feet.
Okay, so this is a very funny phrase in English because it doesn't actually mean that your
cold.
feet are cold,
right?
So cold feet means you're nervous about something. You might change your mind.
Okay.
Okay, so people often talk about men and women getting cold feet before a wedding.
But you can also relate it to any other situation, not only getting married, right?
Yeah, for example, I'm going to go jump out of an airplane tomorrow. Okay, fast forward tomorrow. Oh no, I have cold feet. I don't think I want to jump out of an airplane.
Okay, so that's to get cold feet, to have second thoughts or doubts about actually doing something.
Exactly, cold feet.
All right, so why don't we listen to our dialogue again? Let's keep a lookout for all of these words, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Man, I'm freaking out. You gotta help me.
Whoa, take it easy, relax. Jeez, you're sweating like a pig. What's going on?
I can't go through with this. I just can't. I'm not ready for marriage. What was I thinking? I'm only 35 years old. I've got my entire life ahead of me. Adventure's waiting. I can't settle down yet.
What are you talking about? It wasn't more than a month ago that you were rambling on about how you are tired of living the life of a bachelor and how you envy your friends that have a family.
I know.
Let's think this through. First of all, you cannot leave Amy at the altar. Not only will she be humiliated and kill you, but she is the woman that you love and the woman of your dreams. Why would you want to end that or jeopardize it like this? Second of all, you were just getting cold feet. You know deep down inside that you'd want to marry her. So cut the crap and do it.
You're right. I'm being crazy. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Great. Whew, that was a close one. You had me going there for a minute. I thought I was going to have to slap some sense into you. All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 4 key phrases that we found in this dialogue on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
This first one is a really great phrase because it's very, it's easy to picture this, what we're describing. Sweating like a pig.
To sweat like a pig. Okay, you're sweating like a pig.
All right, this is a way to say that someone is sweating a lot.
A lot.
Okay, and it's really gross or disgusting.
Now, do pigs actually sweat?
I don't know if pigs actually sweat, but you imagine someone smells bad and they have, sweat on their face and their back and their arms.
All right, well, sometimes don't you say you're sweating like a dog?
You could also say that. I guess we like animals in English, but this is just a really great way to say that someone is really sweaty.
All right. And, well, he was sweating and he was really nervous because he said, I can't go through with this. What does he mean, go through with this? With what?
To go through with means to actually do something, okay? So maybe I say, I don't want to jump out of an airplane. I can't go through with this. Okay, I can't jump. So it depends on what we're actually talking about.
Okay.
If we're talking about a wedding, you say, I can't go through with this. I can't get married.
So if you're planning a robbery, you say, well, in the last minute, I couldn't go through with it. I backed out.
Right, I can't complete what I talked about doing.
Okay. And now the friend, he finally gets kind of angry and he says, cut the crap.
Oh man, this is a very common phrase.
All right.
This is someone says this if they don't want to listen to you complain anymore, okay? Marco, cut the crap, okay? I don't want to hear your excuses. I don't want to hear your complaints. I want to just hear
solutions,
ideas, positive things.
So to cut the crap is no more complaints, no more excuses, or no more talking nonsense.
Exactly. And this is common among teachers and, parents. Yeah.
All right, so cut the crap. Now, it's not very polite, right? So you wouldn't really say it to your boss or like a friend.
Cut the crap is kind of rude, and it's very spoken language, so I wouldn't write it down. And I would not use this with someone who is like a teacher,
yeah, like an authority.
You don't use it with them. They might use it with you.
Okay. And for our last phrase, he said, whew, you had me going there for a while, or you had me going there for a minute.
Okay, so this is a really interesting phrase. We use this a lot in English, but it's not clear from listening to it what it might mean. So you had me going there in this sense means, I was really nervous for a minute. I
really believed what you were saying.
Exactly. So maybe we could give an example, Marco.
All right.
Did you know that yesterday I won the lottery? I mean, I won like $1 million and I had the perfect numbers.
Oh my God, really? Can I have $1 million?
I would love to help you out, man, but no, I didn't actually win $1 million.
You had me going there for a minute. You
actually
believed me. I did for a little while.
You believed me. Okay, maybe not. He's not that gullible.
That gullible. All right, but that's what it means, right?
To believe someone's story or to think that something's going to happen even though it doesn't.
Right.
You had me going there. That means what you thought was going to happen didn't happen.
So you can use it in the third person. It's like, yeah, I was telling him this awesome story and I really had him going for a while.
He really believed me,
Right.
and then I told him it wasn't true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great phrases. Now let's listen to our dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about getting cold feet.
Man, I'm freaking out. You gotta help me.
Whoa, take it easy, relax. Jeez, you're sweating like a pig. What's going on?
I can't go through with this. I just can't. I'm not ready for marriage. What was I thinking? I'm only 35 years old. I've got my entire life ahead of me. Adventure's waiting. I can't settle down yet.
What are you talking about? It wasn't more than a month ago that you were rambling on about how you are tired of living the life of a bachelor and how you envy your friends that have a family.
I know.
Let's think this through. First of all, you cannot leave Amy at the altar. Not only will she be humiliated and kill you, but she is the woman that you love and the woman of your dreams. Why would you want to end that or jeopardize it like this? Second of all, you were just getting cold feet. You know deep down inside that you'd want to marry her. So cut the crap and do it.
You're right. I'm being crazy. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Great. Whew. That was a close one. You had me going there for a minute. I thought I was gonna have to slap some sense into you. Alright, so this is a popular scenario, right? Somebody at their, on their wedding day, they get cold feet and they back out.
TV, movies, books, everyone loves the situation.
Have you ever actually heard of or experienced or maybe known of somebody who actually left the bride at the altar or the groom at the altar?
I don't know anyone who did that, luckily. I think it's really sad.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think it's really that common.
No, but there was a movie just about this. So there's a woman, Julia Roberts, who tries to get married, but never can. So it's called Runaway Bride.
Right.
Because every time she goes to the altar, she gets nervous. She gets cold feet and she runs away.
Right.
So they call her the Runaway Bride.
I can't imagine this actually happening to someone. I mean, you have all your family there, your friends.
I know, it'd be so embarrassing.
It's amazing.
And expensive.
Exactly, because you've already paid for everything.
So do you get to eat the cake if you're the one who's left behind?
I think so. Everything's paid for, right?
Exactly.
And drink all the liquor. All right.
Oh.
So that's all the time we have for today. If you have any questions, any comments, you can come to our website at englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A party of people at a wedding. Wedding party. Become nervous and reconsider a decision. Get cold feet. Lose one's nerve. Freak out. Long and careful examination of one's thoughts. Soul searching. Remind someone to stay calm. Slap some sense into.
Let's try that faster.
Long and careful examination of one's thoughts. Soul searching. Become nervous and reconsider a decision. Get cold feet. Lose one's nerve. Freak out. A party of people at a wedding. Wedding party. Remind someone to stay calm. Slap some sense into.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Wedding party. They planned their crime, but couldn't go through with it. Wedding party. You can't go through with this. We are going to be arrested. Wedding party. He had his doubts, but in the end, he went through with the divorce. Get cold feet. I was going to tell him, but I got cold feet. Get cold feet. I can't believe he got cold feet on his wedding day. Get cold feet. I was about to complete my work, but I got cold feet, and I came clean. Freak out. I'm sorry I freaked out in the last moment. Freak out. Don't freak out on me like that again, please.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we have an upper intermediate level lesson all about money.
That's right. We are going to be talking about money, but most importantly, we need to start saving money. We need to spend less.
Exactly. So in order to control spending, today we're talking about budgeting. So let's take a look at this very important word in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right. So as you mentioned, budgeting is, what is to budget?
To budget, that's the verb. So budgeting is deciding how to spend your money, okay? So that means that we prepare a plan for how to spend money.
All right, so that can be a noun and a verb. A budget is the plan on how you're going to spend money, and to budget is to execute this plan.
Exactly. So today we're budgeting a family's spending. We're trying to control how much this family will spend in the future.
All right, very good. So why don't we listen to this dialogue for the first time? Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Carnwell. Please take a seat.
Thank you.
So I understand that your family spending has skyrocketed and you want to start budgeting.
Yes, that's correct. Frankly speaking, our household income is relatively high, and we have never had any money problems. But I think this is the main reason as to why our spending has gone out of control.
We have 2 kids, and with allowances, paying their credit cards, ours, and not to mention our mortgage and car payments, with the recent economic downturn, my husband's business has suffered, and now we need some advice as how we can prepare a family budget.
I see. Well, you have come to the right place. First, what we need to do is determine your cash flow. Knowing how much money is coming in will help us allocate spending to different categories such as mortgage, education, groceries, etc.
Yes, that makes sense.
Secondly, I need you to bring all of your receipts for the last 2 to 3 months. That way we can determine what your average expenditures are and see which category you're spending money on the most. Usually, your fixed costs are higher and we can't do much about that. But we can usually trim your variable costs such as entertainment or clothing.
Great! We will do that then. Now how about we treat you to a nice dinner?
That's another thing. If you really want to stop spending so much money, throw away at least half of your credit cards. All right, we're back. So there were some interesting words and phrases in this dialogue related to budgeting and a lot of, financial terms here. So let's get started now on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
This first term is very important because it tells us what kind of a budget we're talking about. We're not talking about a company here. We're talking about a family.
Right.
And so in this case, we use the phrase household. Okay. So what are we talking about? Household income.
All right. So income, we know, is the amount of money that comes in to maybe your wallet, right? My income, my personal income.
That's how much money you earn.
Okay. So a household income is how much money the house earns. So all the people that are living in this house, right?
That's right. So it could be a family. It could be 2 married people who are married to each other. So the idea is that it's not one person's income. It's the household income. Think of a house.
All right, so it's the combined income of everyone that's living there or that's making money that lives in this house.
Right. So if Marco and I have a household, I earn $10,000 and he earns $10,000. Our household income is $20,000.
Very good. All right. So then now we know that what our household income is. And in this case, we have children and we give our kids an allowance.
Okay, so I had an allowance when I was a kid. This is the amount of money I got from my parents every week. So I get, I think, $10 a week, and I could spend it on anything I wanted. And I didn't have to work because my parents gave the money to me. And so an allowance is this money. It's the money that mom and dad give to their children, maybe every month or maybe every week.
Now, it's not only related to children, right? Because maybe if you have a brother or maybe you're married and your wife is a housewife, maybe you give her an allowance, right? Or the opposite. Maybe you're a house husband and you get an allowance from your wife.
That's right. You can have an allowance if you're anyone. You can also have an allowance from your company if you go traveling. So if you have a business trip, your company gives you a food allowance. That's the amount of money you can spend on food. And you don't have to work for it. That's the best part.
Awesome. All right. So after these allowances, they were talking about, well, how the economic downturn has affected their income and their spending.
Okay, so down, you think this is a negative thing. You're right. Downturn means when a situation gets worse, okay, or slows down. And in this case, the economy is what got worse. And you remember this from last year. Things started to get very difficult for people who are in business. And this has affected families. And so we call the situation an economic downturn.
Now, the opposite would maybe an economic boom.
That's right. A boom is when things are going well. That means people are earning more money. There are more jobs.
All right, very good. And now moving on, as they were talking about budgeting, they mentioned this very important word, very technical, is to allocate money into different areas.
That's right, or allocate spending. This is a verb, to allocate. That means to decide where the money will go. Okay, so as the mother in a family, I will allocate 10% of the money to the children's allowances. That's a lot. 50% to the mortgage, 20% to the car.
Okay.
Car repairs.
So you're allocating your spending.
That's right. I'm deciding where to spend the money.
Okay. And well, talking about spending, we have this word expenditures.
Expenditures. And so this is a really important word if you're in business as well, because we consider expenditures when we're talking about how much a company earns. Expenditures are things that we spend money on. So remember that word expenditures, spend.
Okay, so an expenditure. And this is a noun, and usually it's in the plural, expenditures.
Exactly, expenditures. So we have many expenditures at my house. Among them, we have the car, the rent, healthcare, things like that.
Okay, perfect. So really good phrases there, really good vocabulary items. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
We've got some very fun phrases today, Marco, in Fluency Builder. This first one is a very common phrase that we hear in songs and movies.
To skyrocket. All right. What is skyrocket?
Well, you think about a rocket, that's a ship that goes to space. To skyrocket means to go up really high, really fast.
Okay.
The price of gas has skyrocketed. So I remember when I was a kid, gas used to be 98 cents a gallon.
Wow, really?
And in the 2000s, the price skyrocketed, and it ended up being like $4 a gallon.
Yeah, it was really expensive. All right, so this is also, you can talk about sales have skyrocketed, or the price of petroleum has skyrocketed.
So it could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're talking about.
All right, and now moving on, they said that their spending was out of control.
Yeah, so this family doesn't seem to understand how to budget. They spend on everything. And so the accountant says that your spending is out of control. That means that you're spending too much. There's no order to the way that you're spending.
And we actually have a previous lesson called Out of Control Spending, that we also touched this topic of what we talk about out of control. Something is out of control. A person can be out of control.
Like a child. This child is out of control. He never stops screaming and hitting people.
All right. And our last phrase for today, the accountant says, well, you've come to the right place.
Okay, this is the accountant bragging. He's saying, well, I can fix your problems. I can help you. You've come to the right place. You can use this in many different ways. For example, I have a problem maybe with my TV, and I say, Marco, oh my gosh, my TV doesn't work. I don't know what to do. Can you help?
Right, and I can say, well, you've come to the right place. I can fix your TV.
Marco's an expert in electronics.
All right, so you've come to the right place. It's a very common phrase, especially as you say when somebody's trying to brag and say, well, I know how to fix your problems, or I know what you need.
I'm good at this. You've come to the right place. If you want to learn English, you've come to the right place.
Exactly.
Englishpod.com.
All right, so let's listen to our dialogue for the last time. Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Carnwell. Please take a seat.
Thank you.
So I understand that your family spending has skyrocketed and you want to start budgeting.
Yes, that's correct. Frankly speaking, our household income is relatively high, and we have never had any money problems. But I think this is the main reason as to why our spending has gone out of control.
We have 2 kids, and with allowances, paying their credit cards, ours, and not to mention our mortgage and car payments, with the recent economic downturn, my husband's business has suffered, and now we need some advice as how we can prepare a family budget.
I see. Well, you have come to the right place. First, what we need to do is determine your cash flow. Knowing how much money is coming in will help us allocate spending to different categories such as mortgage, education, groceries, etc.
Yes, that makes sense.
Secondly, I need you to bring all of your receipts for the last 2 to 3 months. That way we can determine what your average expenditures are and see which category you're spending money on the most. Usually, your fixed costs are higher and we can't do much about that, but we can usually trim your variable costs such as entertainment or clothing.
Great! We will do that then. Now how about we treat you to a nice dinner?
That's another thing. If you really want to stop spending so much money, throw away at least half of your credit cards. All right, we're back. So now talking about allowances. You said you had an allowance when you were a kid. Did you really have a $10 a week allowance?
No, I think it was like 8. It started out at $6 or $5 a week, and then I think the most I got was like 10 or 11.
Oh, wow. So it was like almost about $1 a day.
About that, but usually the point was that, well, I started working when I was 15 because my parents thought it was important for children to learn how money works. But I was given that money because at the time, it was enough money to go out one night.
Oh.
So on Friday nights, if I wanted to go out with my friends, I could go out to watch a movie and get a slice of pizza, and $10 was enough.
Okay.
Now $10 doesn't even buy you a ticket to the movie, but at the time it was more than enough.
So this is important, I guess, because, different families have different ways of upbringing their children, and in many cases, this doesn't happen, right? If I want to go out to the movies on a Saturday, then my parents will give me $30, and if I want to go out next weekend, they'll also give me money. So it's interesting to see the contrast, because obviously when I was a kid also I didn't really get this opportunity of going out all the time, and actually I had to work for it. So if I wanted to go out on the weekend, I would get an allowance, but also I would have to wash the car. That was typical with my dad. I had to wash the car.
Well, I think it's interesting because it shows that the parents want to teach their children about budgeting. Because if you only have $10, you really have to budget. You have to decide how you will allocate that money, even though it's not very much. So in some ways, it's good practice.
Yeah, it is. I think it's done us well. We're not in debt.
Not yet.
All right. So let us know how allowances work in your country, or maybe did you have an allowance when you were a kid? A lot of people didn't have an allowance. I know a lot of friends didn't get allowances. So come to our website, englishpod.com, and if you have any other questions or doubts, please leave them there as well.
We hope to hear from you. Until next time. Bye. Everyone.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Rise rapidly, as in price. Skyrocket. Beyond the ability to direct the actions of something. Out of control. Plan the way to spend money in order to save more. Budget. Assign. Allocate. To be honest. To say it directly. Frankly speaking.
Let's try that faster.
Assign. Allocate. Beyond the ability to direct the actions of something. Out of control. To be honest. To say it directly. Frankly speaking. Plan the way to spend money in order to save more. Budget. Rise rapidly, as in price. Skyrocket.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Skyrocket. The ratings for this TV show have skyrocketed in the past month. Skyrocket. Her popularity skyrocketed after she won the competition. Skyrocket. The company's profits skyrocketed with their new advertising campaign. Out of control. I really need to learn how to budget because my spending is out of control. Out of control. Her anger was out of control when she learned that they had killed him. Out of control. His driving was out of control. Budget. My roommates and I really need to start budgeting the money we spend on food. Budget. Her family has started to budget the money they spend on shopping. Budget. He needs to start budgeting his time better. Allocate. The teacher allocated tasks to different students. Allocate. I need to allocate my study time between my different courses. Allocate. He allocated the prize money to different charities. Frankly speaking. Frankly speaking, you should break up with him. Frankly speaking. Frankly speaking, the government is just trying to get away with raising taxes again. Frankly speaking. To be frank, I don't think this is a good decision.
everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have an intermediate level lesson all about cell phones.
That's right. We're going to be buying a cell phone, or also known as a mobile phone. So before we jump into the dialogue, let's take a look at a specific type of phone on Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
Well, the name of this phone is kind of funny. It's called a smartphone. It's very popular these days. Things like the Apple iPhone or the HTC Hero. These are examples of a smartphone.
That's right. So basically, a smartphone has additional functions more than just a normal mobile phone. For example, you can check your email on a smartphone.
Yeah, so the thing that makes a smartphone different from a normal mobile phone is that it's like a small computer. You can do things like Marco said, send emails or take photos, edit photos, use applications, things like that from your phone.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about smartphones, so let's listen to the dialogue for the first time.
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yeah, I accidentally dropped my phone in the toilet.
I see. Well, you've come to the right place. We have over 100 models of more than 20 leading mobile phone manufacturers.
Sounds good. I don't want it to be too expensive. Maybe something mid-range.
We have this new HTC smartphone. It comes with the Android OS, so you can download applications. It also has a built-in camera, MP3 player, and touchscreen. It works on the 3G network, so you have fast access to the internet wherever you are.
What about Wi-Fi?
Of course, you can access the internet from any hotspot, as well as from home.
One last thing. Is it waterproof?
All right, we're back. Now, have you ever done this? Have you ever dropped your phone in the water? Have you ever damaged the phone like that?
Luckily, no, knock on wood, but I have a good friend who dropped his in the toilet and
As
had to
well.
buy a new one. Yeah, so this is not made up.
It's actually more common than what people think, but we'll get to that in a bit. Why don't we take a look at 5 key words in language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
This first word is very important because in this particular dialogue, we're talking about the HTC smartphone. This is a special kind of phone, and it has an Android operating system, or OS. So Android is something that Google came up with, and they have this operating system that they're giving away for free. If you want to use it, you can use it. You can make a whole new phone using this operating system. So the operating system, like Windows or what's the Mac one called?
Tiger OS.
Tiger OS. You have these operating Linux, yeah, Linux. These are like the interface that allows you to use your computer and to interact with it. And so they're different for different kinds of computers. But the same is true of a smartphone.
Exactly. So that's what we are looking at today. If you see this word Android, it's a proper noun, and as Catherine mentioned, it's the name of the OS or operating system developed by Google. So we're taking a look at a smartphone that uses the Android OS. All right, now this phone not only carried this operating system, but also an MP3 player.
That's right. So an MP3 player is a device that plays songs for you. So songs can be stored as MP3s. And a good example of an MP3 player is an iPod.
An iPod, exactly. And for many of you, you're listening to this podcast as an MP3 file through an MP3 player. So that's the name. We usually say MP3.
Exactly. And another feature of this special smartphone is that you can use it on the 3G network. What is a 3G network, Marco?
All right, so a 3G network is a third generation network, which allows more information to be sent. So not only can you send voice like a normal cell phone network, but now you can send pictures, or you can download information like, for example, your email. So this is a new 3G network. It allows you to send more information, more data.
Exactly. 3G, third generation. And in addition to this, our customer wants to know about Wi-Fi, okay? Wi-Fi, you hear this a lot when you go to a hotel or a restaurant. They say we have Wi-Fi access.
Right.
here.
And Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity. So it's basically internet that has no wires. You don't need to connect your computer to anything. You just log on and use the internet.
All right, so look out for that when you're in a cafe next time. Do they have Wi-Fi? Usually there's a sign on the wall. And finally, This customer wants to know, is this great phone waterproof? What is waterproof?
All right. So if you have a watch, for example, and you can take this watch into a swimming pool or the ocean, it means it's waterproof. So it resists water. It won't get damaged if it gets wet.
Great. So I could say that I have a waterproof jacket.
Right.
So that means that when I go in the rain, my clothes don't get wet because they don't go inside the fabric.
Right. So, and there are many things waterproof as watches or waterproof cameras. I've never really seen a waterproof mobile phone, though. That's a good invention, maybe.
That would be.
All right. So those are 5 keywords for language takeaway. Why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back.
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yeah, I accidentally dropped my phone in the toilet.
I see. Well, you've come to the right place. We have over 100 models of more than 20 leading mobile phone manufacturers.
Sounds good. I don't want it to be too expensive. Maybe something mid-range.
We have this new HTC smartphone. It comes with the Android OS, so you can download applications. It also has a built-in camera, MP3 player, and touchscreen. It works on the 3G network, so you have fast access to the internet wherever you are.
What about Wi-Fi?
Of course, you can access the internet from any hotspot, as well as from home.
One last thing. Is it waterproof?
All right, we're back. So now we have 3 phrases for you on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, this first phrase is a way of expressing something. So we're going to give you a formula. The first word is leading. So leading mobile phone manufacturers. So when we use the word leading, we're saying that it's leading in industry. That means the most important manufacturers in a kind of industry.
Right. So it's one of the biggest, it's one of the best. And if we want to change the noun, we can say, for example, the leading car manufacturer.
Exactly. So in Japan, I wonder who the leading car manufacturer is. Is it Toyota maybe?
Toyota.
And we could also say that about clothing. The leading clothing manufacturer in America is, I have no idea, cotton maybe?
Cotton, right. So you can use many other nouns. And well, if you want to drop the manufacturers, you can say the leading brand in cosmetics or the leading supplier of medical equipment.
So this means the person or the company with that's the most important in an industry.
Right. And going back to one of the features of the mobile phone, we talked about the built-in camera. Now this structure is interesting. Built-in.
Well, we can say that things are built in when they are a part of something else. For example, a built-in camera is a part of a phone. It's not a camera and a phone,
right.
2 different devices. They're put together. We can also say this about cabinets. You can buy cabinets and you can put them in your house and keep things in them. But we often have built-ins. That means that they're stuck on the wall. You can't take them away.
Right.
So those are called built-ins because they're part of the wall. So a built-in camera is a part of the phone.
Right. So you can pretty much use this structure with 2 products that are combined as one. For example, the cabinets that Catherine mentioned, or if your refrigerator has a television incorporated, right? You can say this refrigerator comes with a built-in television.
Or very common is the laptop with built-in speakers. So that means we don't have to bring speakers with us every time we want to use the laptop. There's small speakers inside the computer.
Very good. And we have one last phrase.
One last phrase.
One last thing. All right, so that's our phrase. One last thing. Oh, wait, before you go, one last thing.
So this is often said when someone's leaving a conversation. So I'm going to say, okay, Marco, I've got to go run and do something. I'll see you later.
Right. Oh, wait. One last thing.
Wait, what? Oh, okay.
Right.
So now I'll wait. So one last thing is a way to say, no, wait, hold on. I have to tell you
Something
one more
else.
thing.
So yeah, as you say, you can use it as a fixed phrase. One last thing. Or before I go, one last thing. Can you take out the dog?
One last thing we have to talk about.
Right. And this was our last word. So why don't we listen to our dialogue for the last time?
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yeah, I accidentally dropped my phone in the toilet.
I see. Well, you've come to the right place. We have over 100 models of more than 20 leading mobile phone manufacturers.
Sounds good. I don't want it to be too expensive. Maybe something mid-range.
We have this new HTC smartphone. It comes with the Android OS, so you can download applications. It also has a built-in camera, MP3 player, and touchscreen. It works on the 3G network, so you have fast access to the internet wherever you are.
What about Wi-Fi?
Of course, you can access the internet from any hotspot, as well as from home.
One last thing. Is it waterproof?
All right, we're back. And I actually read somewhere that many girls have this accident because they place their mobile phones in their back pockets. So when they go to the bathroom, they accidentally, the phone accidentally drops out and falls into the toilet.
I heard a different explanation for
Really?
this common problem. Maybe not very appropriate, but boys have this problem because they take their phones to the bathroom and they play with them when they're using the bathroom.
I've also heard this, that you're maybe checking your messages or checking your email while in your bathroom and boop, it falls.
Just falls. Yeah, so I think boys and girls all have this problem. Be careful with your phones. Those smartphones
Right.
are still pretty expensive.
Yes, they are. All right, so if you have any questions, any doubts, you can contact us at englishpod.com, and we'll see everyone there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
By accident. Accidentally. Advanced. Fashionable. Lead. Software program. Application. A telecommunication system. Network. Place with internet connectivity. Hotspot. A phone with wireless internet capacity. Smartphone. Management system. Android OS.
Let's try that faster.
Place with internet connectivity. Hotspot. By accident. Accidentally. Management system. Android OS. A phone with wireless internet capacity. Smartphone. Advanced. Fashionable. Lead. A telecommunication system. Network. Software program. Application.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Accidentally. I accidentally scratched his car with my bike. Accidentally. They accidentally left the lights on while they were on vacation. Accidentally. How can a person accidentally burn their house down? Application. With this application, you can see which restaurants are nearby your current location. Application. I've downloaded many free applications, but I can never justify buying pay applications. Application. He designs iPhone applications for a technology company. Network. All of the computers in this office are connected by a network. Network. Our brains are a system of nerves and connections that control all of our body's processes. Network. The wireless network is down. Can you pass me that cable so I can connect to the internet? Hotspot. He is always checking his emails. He only goes to restaurants with wireless hotspots. Hotspot. This cafe is perfect. All you can drink coffee and a wireless hotspot. Hotspot. I have to find a wireless hotspot in this airport so I can send out an email right away. Smartphone. Apple's iPhone revolutionized the smartphone industry. Smartphone. I'd really like to buy a smartphone, but they're almost as expensive as a laptop computer. Smartphone. Buying a smartphone has made my life much more convenient. I don't have to bring my computer with me everywhere now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have an elementary level lesson about food, one of my favorite things to talk about.
That's right. We are going to talk about food, but specifically, we're going to talk about a family barbecue.
Okay, what is a family barbecue? Well, I'll just say a few words first. A barbecue is usually something that we do outside. We bring food, we play games, maybe have some drinks, and a lot of the food is grilled. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to hear this dialogue first, and then we'll come back to talk about it.
Is everything ready for the big family barbecue tomorrow?
Yep, the steaks and chicken are marinated, and I also bought hamburger buns.
We should also cook a couple dozen hot dogs and kebabs.
Yeah, good idea. We could put some lawn furniture outside next to the grill. I also set up the tent outside so we can hide from the sun if it gets too hot.
Great! I asked Grace to bring cups and serviettes, as she is also bringing 2 big coolers for the beers.
This is going to be a great barbecue.
Oh no, it's raining!
All right, we're back. So probably a couple of words you didn't really understand. So let's take a look at those now in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Lots of food words, Marco. The first one is barbecue. We were talking about that a minute ago. A barbecue is something we do usually for a special occasion or for dinner. It's a summertime thing. You know, you go outside when it's warm and the entire family comes and we have food. Sometimes people even bring food.
Right. And actually, as you mentioned, it's something that you do a barbecue. You have a family barbecue, but it's also a verb to barbecue something. So to cook meat on a barbecue. So that's cooking meat, not in a stove, not with gas. Usually it's under a fire or very warm, intense heat coming from coals.
Exactly. And so before we cook food, usually before we cook meat on the grill, before we barbecue it, we have to marinate it. Okay? So in this situation, the steaks and the chicken are already marinated.
Okay. So to marinate something which is a verb, or the steaks and chickens are marinated, which is an adjective. So basically means that you have added spices and maybe some lemon juice, different herbs or salts to the meats in order to give it flavor before you cook them.
Exactly. Sometimes in Indian cooking, for example, you marinate with a yogurt sauce and you leave the meat in the refrigerator for a whole night.
Exactly.
So marinating or to marinate is a process to give flavor to food.
Very good. All right, so we've marinated our food, our chicken, our steaks, but also we have hamburgers, so we need hamburger buns. What are buns?
Okay, buns are pieces of bread that are for special kinds of food. So you have a hamburger bun. It's a round piece of bread, and the hamburger goes on one piece and under another piece. A hot dog bun is different. It's like a piece of bread that's folded, and the hot dog goes in the middle. So bun is a special kind of bread for these kinds of foods.
All right, so remember, if you want to have a hot dog, you need to buy hot dog buns. So people know already that you're talking about bread. And if you want to buy a hamburger bread, you say a hamburger bun.
That's right. So hamburger buns and hot dog buns. But after we talk about having the hamburger buns, we discuss how many hot dogs we're going to cook. So the person says we should cook a couple dozen hot dogs.
All right, so a dozen is 12 units of something.
Right, so eggs are sold in dozens. We buy a dozen eggs, we buy 12 eggs.
Okay, or you can say half a dozen, that means 6.
Half of 12. And a couple dozen is usually around 24, 25.
Okay, very good. So a dozen hot dogs, and they are also getting kebabs. What are kebabs?
One of my favorite foods. Kebabs are sticks or skewers of meat. So you have a very thin stick and you put the meat on it and you put that on the grill and you cook the meat on the grill.
So, yeah, those are very common. For example, in the Middle East, right? You have kebabs, sticks of meat, and also maybe some vegetables put on it, and you grill them.
Exactly. Very flavorful, very tasty meat.
All right, so why don't we listen to our dialogue again, and we'll come back shortly to look at some more words.
Is everything ready for the big family barbecue tomorrow?
Yep, the steaks and chicken are marinated, and I also bought hamburger buns.
We should also cook a couple dozen hot dogs and kebabs.
Yeah, good idea. We could put some lawn furniture outside next to the grill. I also set up the tent outside so we can hide from the sun if it gets too hot.
Great! I asked Grace to bring cups and serviettes, as she is also bringing 2 big coolers for the beers.
This is going to be a great barbecue.
All right, we're back. So now why don't we go to a second part of language takeaway and take a look at 5 more words.
Language takeaway.
All right, the first word that we're going to look at is lawn furniture. So we're going to have lawn furniture outside.
Okay, so before we even start thinking about food, we have to decide where people will sit at this barbecue. And so we have to find out how much lawn furniture we have. Furniture can be a sofa, a table, a chair. We have furniture in the house, but lawn furniture is furniture for the outside. A lawn is
Right.
the green grass outside your house.
So it's usually not going to be made out of wood, for example, because if it rains, it might get ruined, right? So usually it's either plastic or maybe even rock or stone.
or metal.
Or metal. So that's what lawn furniture is. Furniture that is made to be outside in your backyard, for example, or that sits on your lawn.
Exactly. And so we're going to be on the lawn furniture. We have the special thing for cooking meat outside, the grill.
Okay, so we mentioned that you grill chicken or you grill steaks, but it's also a noun, a grill. So a grill, what is that?
A grill is like a stove for the outside, but instead of having electricity to make the fire, we have gas or propane. And this is something that we light on fire. We use coals to keep the insides very warm. And so this is just a way to cook meats or even vegetables outside.
Okay, perfect. So that is a grill. And if you're going to cook foods or vegetables in this way, so you're going to grill them. All right. And well, just in case it gets hot and you want to hide from the sun, we are going to set up a tent.
Okay, a tent. You can sleep in a tent, but in this case, a tent is just a covering outside. So maybe some cloth or some fabric that will stand over us when we sit down or want to be outside. It's also a way to protect us from the rain.
Right. So as you mentioned, a tent is something that you set up temporarily made out of cloth or plastic to protect you from the sun or rain. Or if you're going camping, you sleep in one. All right. And now that they have all the food, they need cups. And then they mentioned this strange word. It kind of sounds French. Serviettes.
Serviettes. So I do think it comes from the French word. This is a British way of saying napkins.
A napkin.
It's like paper for cleaning your hands and cleaning your mouth that you throw away.
Okay, so you can say napkins, or if you want to sound a little bit more fancier, you can say serviettes.
And speaking of fancy, let's talk about beer. Where do we keep beer? It has to stay cold, right?
Right. So usually you would place it in a refrigerator, but if you're outside or you're going camping, you want to keep them cold or you want to keep something hot. You place it in a cooler.
Okay, so a cooler is a plastic bin or a plastic box that we put all of the ice in and the drinks. So it's not just for beer, it's also for Coke and Sprite and all these different drinks.
Right, so it's usually made to keep something cool, but as I said, if you want to keep something warm, you can also keep it in the cooler. It keeps the temperature of the foods.
And the nice thing is that it's not electric, so you can use it anywhere.
Right. All right, so that's all the words for today. Why don't we listen to our dialogue for the last time?
Is everything ready for the big family barbecue tomorrow?
Yep, the steaks and chicken are marinated, and I also bought hamburger buns.
We should also cook a couple dozen hot dogs and kebabs.
Yeah, good idea. We could put some lawn furniture outside next to the grill. I also set up the tent outside so we can hide from the sun if it gets too hot.
Great! I asked Grace to bring cups and serviettes, as she is also bringing 2 big coolers for the beers.
This is going to be a great barbecue.
Oh no, it's raining!
All right, we're back. So family barbecues and doing these things. Did you do these when you were young at home? Do you still like to do it?
All the time. I love barbecues. It's one of my favorite ways to eat food. The nice thing about a barbecue is you get to sit outside and relax, and there's nothing better than nice, fresh grilled meat.
Right, and well, you have all your friends over, so you're having a couple of beers and you're having some meat, and it's actually a really nice way of just having something at home with good friends and family, right?
Exactly, and some of the most important barbecues we have are in the summer near July 4th. And so people like to have July 4th barbecues where you celebrate Independence Day and sit outside and drink and have hot dogs and hamburgers and macaroni and cheese.
Actually, well, I was in Chile. I noticed that as well. Near their festivities for their independence, which is September 18th, a lot of people get together and have barbecues, and it's so popular that pretty much every house in the neighborhood you can smell somebody barbecuing on the weekend.
You're making me so hungry.
All right, guys. So if you have any questions, any doubts, or if it's common for you guys to barbecue back home, then why don't you send us a couple of comments at englishpod.com, and we'll see everyone there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A meal cooked out of doors, over an open fire. Barbecue. Be soaked in marinade. Marinate. A group of 12. Dozen. Pieces of roasted meat, fish, and vegetables on a skewer. Kebab. Utensil with a metal grate, parallel metal bars, for cooking over a fire. Grill. Portable shelter of canvas held up by poles, rope, and pegs. Tent. A small square of cloth or paper. Serviette. A container, vessel, or apparatus for cooling. Cooler. Furniture intended for use outside in the yard. Lawn furniture. A round bun shaped to hold a hamburger patty. Hamburger bun.
Let's try that faster.
A round bun shaped to hold a hamburger patty. Hamburger bun. A meal cooked out of doors over an open fire. Barbecue. A container, vessel, or apparatus for cooling. Cooler. Be soaked in marinade. Marinate. Utensil with a metal grate, parallel metal bars, for cooking over a fire. Grill. Portable shelter of canvas held up by poles, rope, and pegs. Tent. Pieces of roasted meat, fish, and vegetables on a skewer. Kebab. Furniture intended for use outside in the yard. Lawn furniture. A group of 12. Dozen. A small square of cloth or paper. Serviette.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Barbecue. How about we have a barbecue tomorrow night? Barbecue. In the summertime at dinner, there is always the smell of someone in our neighborhood having a barbecue. Barbecue. Can you smell the barbecue? My mouth is watering. Marinate. Marinated steaks are much more tasty and juicier than regular steaks. Marinate. The only thing I know about my friend's secret recipe is that she marinates the chicken breasts overnight. Marinate. Marinating meat makes the meat more tender. Lawn furniture. We have a whole bunch of lawn furniture and a swimming pool in our backyard. Lawn furniture. The home store down the road is having a sale on lawn furniture. Lawn furniture. The party ended abruptly when people started throwing the lawn furniture into the pool. Grill. My favorite food is steak done on the grill. Grill. After you finish cutting up the vegetables, wrap them in some aluminum foil and place it on top of the grill. Grill. You should always clean the grill after you use it. Cooler. We brought a cooler with us to the beach so that we could keep the drinks and the sandwich meat cold. Cooler. He filled up a cooler with ice and then placed the medical specimen carefully inside. Cooler. When we go camping, we always have a cooler or two to keep food cold.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about something that has always been very confusing for me.
For me as well. I don't understand very well what this is about. We're going to be talking about time zones and a little bit about daylight savings time.
Before we get started, though, let's take a look at this phrase in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so the phrase is daylight savings time. Okay, so we're trying to save daylight, pretty much.
That's right. So this is the time of year when we change our clocks. What does that mean? That means in the fall, there's a special day and everyone has it on their calendar and we change the clocks. We put them back 1 hour. So if it was 8 o'clock, now it's 7 o'clock.
Okay, so everything is earlier, starts earlier.
Yes.
And that's basically to take advantage of the daylight, right? That's why it's called daylight savings time.
Exactly. And so that's for the winter. And then when the winter is past, we change the clocks again. We have the spring daylight savings where we change our clocks ahead.
Okay. So it sounds kind of complicated. Many countries don't have daylight savings time. They don't change their clocks at all. But we're going to be talking about this in a little bit more. So why don't we listen to our dialogue for the first time?
Did you set your clock forward for daylight savings time?
What? Why do we have to do that?
Well, at the start of the spring, we usually have more daylight in the mornings and less in the afternoon. This is basically due to our position on the planet and the rotation of the Earth. In any case, to take better advantage of the daylight available, we compensate by moving our clocks forward 1 hour.
I see. That's convenient. I never understood things like this, such as GMT. I never know what time zone we are in or when to change my clock.
That just stands for Greenwich Mean Time. Here in California, we're in Pacific Standard Time. That is 8 time zones west of Greenwich. Remember when we were in Beijing? Well, then we were in China Standard Time, and that's 8 time zones east of Greenwich.
That's why it was so weird traveling from Beijing to LA, because of the huge time difference. Even though we left Beijing at noon and flew for more than 8 hours, we still arrived in LA the same day at noon. It's like we went back in time.
All right, we're back. So that was a pretty clear explanation of why we do these things. But maybe there were a couple of words that you didn't understand. So let's take a look at those now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, Marco, what you were hinting at before, this idea that we have shorter days in the winter and longer days in the summer, has to do with the rotation of the Earth. And so the rotation of the Earth is our first phrase.
Okay, so the Earth rotates. What does that mean if it rotates?
Means to spin around, but not just to spin around anywhere. It means that if you draw a line through the middle of something, it never leaves that line. It just kind of turns.
Okay, so it's spinning.
Like the wheels on a car. They rotate. That means they go around, but they are fixed
To the car.
to the car.
Right. So this is one of the reasons why we need to compensate our clocks because of the rotation of the Earth.
And that's our next word, to compensate. This is a verb, to compensate. And it's often used with money, but it can be used with time as well, time or sunlight. So with money, you'd say, I paid him $100, but I owed him $150, so I'm going to compensate him for the extra $50.
Okay.
Means I'm going to fix it.
Okay, so to compensate would be the verb, and compensation would be the noun. Now, in this case, we're talking about time, so how can we compensate time?
Well, that means that if we have lost an hour because we changed the clocks, we have to compensate. We have to try and gain that hour back. And so that's why in the spring, after the days start to get longer and longer, we have to compensate for that by changing the clocks again.
Okay, so we're compensating time. Now, related to daylight savings and this whole time thing is time zones. We have time zones all over the earth, and you've probably noticed this if you've traveled. You have to change your clocks, or many times you see in hotels what time it is in London, in Hong Kong, in Berlin, etc.
And this makes a lot of sense because, like we said, the Earth is rotating. And so if it's daylight in Moscow and it's nighttime in New York, obviously it's not the same time.
Right.
So to compensate for this difference, we have different time zones. And each time zone is pretty much an hour or so, and half an hour different from the next one.
Right. So most countries actually have different time zones throughout their country, unless they're small that they don't really need to compensate any change. Or, for example, China, just to unify everything. It's a big country, but they have one time zone. It's China Standard Time.
Exactly. But in the United States, we have 4 time zones.
Right. All right. So that's time zone. And now related to time zone is time difference.
Okay, well, think about math here. Difference is a word that we use in math. And a time difference is the amount of time. That means how many hours there are between one time zone and another time zone. So, for example, Beijing and New York City. These are very, very far away from each other. If it's day in New York, it's night in Beijing. So that means if it's 7 in the morning in Beijing, it's probably around 7 at night in New York.
So the time difference would be more or less 12 hours.
Exactly.
Wow.
But when it's daylight savings time, it's 13.
Oh.
So be careful.
Right. Okay. I think that's pretty clear. I think we should go back and listen to our dialogue again, and we'll be back soon with Fluency Builder.
Did you set your clock forward for daylight savings time?
What? Why do we have to do that?
Well, at the start of the spring, we usually have more daylight in the mornings and less in the afternoon. This is basically due to our position on the planet and the rotation of the Earth. In any case, to take better advantage of the daylight available, we compensate by moving our clocks forward 1 hour.
I see. That's convenient. I never understood things like this, such as GMT. I never know what time zone we are in or when to change my clock.
That just stands for Greenwich Mean Time. Here in California, we're in Pacific Standard Time. That is 8 time zones west of Greenwich. Remember when we were in Beijing? Well, then we were in China Standard Time, and that's 8 time zones east of Greenwich.
That's why it was so weird traveling from Beijing to LA, because of the huge time difference. Even though we left Beijing at noon and flew for more than 8 hours, we still arrived in LA the same day at noon. It's like we went back in time.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at 3 key phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency builder.
Oh, let's go back to the beginning of this dialogue. The person who's explaining all of these interesting things is saying that, well, in any case, to take better advantage of the daylight available, we compensate by moving our clocks forward 1 hour. So this is an important phrase. You could say to take better advantage of or to take advantage of. Let's talk about this. To
All right.
take advantage of something.
So to take advantage of something is to use it efficiently, right? Or to take better advantage. So for example, if you drive to work every day and your neighbor drives to work every day and you work at the same place, you could take better advantage of your car and the cost by sharing the same car to work.
Exactly. Or when people started to use computers, you could say, well, they were taking better advantage of their time by speeding things up, by making things faster with the computers.
Right. Or many mothers say, take better advantage of your time and read something instead of playing those video games.
Exactly. So it means, like you said, to be more efficient, to do useful or important things.
That's right. And now when we talked about what daylight savings time means or GMT, what that stands for, this is an interesting phrase. It stands for.
Well, think about it as a picture. So if something stands for something else, that means the original thing, it's not there anymore. And so in words and phrases like GMT, GMT doesn't mean anything by itself, but the G stands for something, the M it's an acronym.
Okay.
So this is an acronym that stands for, that represents 3 big long words.
Okay.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Right. So we use this a lot when we are defining words or when we are defining an acronym. Like GMT stands for Greenwich Mean Time, or for example, USA stands for United States of America.
Or we can even say someone's name stands for something. So, Marco, what does the M in your last name stand for? So you're Marco M. What does the M stand for?
Right. And then I would say, well, it stands for Mejia.
Your last name.
Right.
So you can use this when you see things that you don't understand, maybe an acronym or an abbreviation. Like, does Kathy stand for Catherine? Yes, Kathy stands for Catherine. It's a short version of Catherine.
Cool. All right. And well, now talking a little bit more about time, you've maybe seen the movie Back to the Future, and this is what it's all about, to go back in time.
To go back in time. So we went back in time. This is what the person says about the flight from Beijing to LA. What's interesting is that to go back in time is kind of a fixed phrase. We always say it like this. So we could say, if you went back in time, where would you go? What time? What place?
Right. So to go back in time, you usually use it like this. Now, what if I wanted to say to go into the future? Could you say go forward in time?
You could go forward in time, or you could go into the future.
Right, go into the future. So remember, if you want to talk about going back in time, is usually traveling to the past.
Exactly.
All right, so that's all the phrases we have. Why don't we listen to the dialogue for the very last time?
Did you set your clock forward for daylight savings time?
What? Why do we have to do that?
Well, at the start of the spring, we usually have more daylight in the mornings and less in the afternoon. This is basically due to our position on the planet and the rotation of the Earth. In any case, to take better advantage of the daylight available, we compensate by moving our clocks forward 1 hour.
I see. That's convenient. I never understood things like this, such as GMT. I never know what time zone we are in or when to change my clock.
That just stands for Greenwich Mean Time. Here in California, we're in Pacific Standard Time. That is 8 time zones west of Greenwich. Remember when we were in Beijing? Well, then we were in China Standard Time, and that's 8 time zones east of Greenwich.
That's why it was so weird traveling from Beijing to LA, because of the huge time difference. Even though we left Beijing at noon and flew for more than 8 hours, we still arrived in LA the same day at noon. It's like we went back in time.
All right, we're back. And now this is actually something that really does happen, right? If you take off in an airplane from Beijing, you fly for a certain amount of hours and you reach California and it's still the same time. You reach it in the same day.
It's very strange. The same thing happens to me when I go home. So I leave Shanghai and I arrive in Chicago and I arrive at the exact same time I left on the same day.
So it's like if time never passed.
No, it's the longest day of your entire life because it's not 24 hours. The flight is 14 hours. It's really 38 hours long, right? So it's really intense and exhausting.
And then what happens is when you do the opposite, you go from Chicago to Shanghai, then you go into the future pretty much, right? Because you left on a Sunday, but you arrive on a Tuesday.
Or in my case, yeah, you leave on a Sunday and you'd arrive on a Monday. And you lose half a day of your life.
Right.
You're just sitting there and all of a sudden it goes past you.
Right.
Yeah, so it all evens out in the end.
Right. So when you go back or when you come, it all evens out. You recover. You get those hours of your life back, pretty much.
They're not gone forever.
All right. So if you guys have any questions, any doubts, you can send us an email at englishpod@praxislanguage.com or come to our website, englishpod.com.
We hope to see you there. Ask away. And until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.